Hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Today's topic is going to be damage and how much damage I was able to reach on this build, which is honestly way more than I thought we will be able to. Pinnacle bosses die literally in seconds, and this could be, from my research, this could be the highest damage setup on totems from all the footage I've seen and different YouTube videos and stuff like that. I don't think I've seen the totem build with more damage. Of course, for the current patch, like 0.2, right? But yeah, this video we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you guys a quick showcase of how this looks like, and then we're going to talk about how we reach that level of damage. I'm going to say to point all the tools that we're using to get very, very devastating damage on totems, even in patch 0.2, after a massive nerf in the nerfs, because totems were much stronger in patch 0.1. Turns out in patch 0.2, they're still strong, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Alright, so let's just jump into it. We're gonna run like a classic, like a Xesht, maximum tier Xesht, because it's a great SpongeBob. It's crazy how many times I kill Xesht throughout my, throughout the past few months when I was trying to test stuff and stuff like that. One clarification. I've been absent for the past few days because we're getting, basically the reason is we're getting closer to the end of the league, and well, that is not true. We're not getting closer to the end of the league, but at this point, this is my 4th project, and the PoE 1 gets released very soon. We're gonna have the grand reveal of what's gonna happen in patch in patch 3.26, I believe next Thursday, so in 7 days. And after that, I believe in another week, we're going to have a grand release of patch 3.26. So basically in 2 weeks and 14 days. And this is absolutely crazy because this is going to be a Atlas expansion in PoE 1, which we didn't have in basically like 4 or 5 years now, since they added like Atlas tree to the game. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm extremely excited to play PoE 1 and make content from that, from this game as well, and make builds there. So if you guys feel like you want to stay around and see the content from this game, please feel free to do so. But if you don't, that's totally fine, right? Because I understand that the PoE 2 brought newer audience to the game, and not everyone is into PoE 1. But it's a really good game. It's a really, really good game. So I'm really excited to play PoE 1. Therefore, I decided to just take it a little bit slower for PoE 2. I'm going to finish this build, generally speaking, videos for this build, and we're going to make a build guide and stuff like that. But I decided to take things a little bit slow, not to be like burned out, like not to like hyper spam like PoE 2 until the very first day of PoE 1 and then go PoE 1. I decided to like not necessarily take a break, but take things easy. So I hope you guys don't mind. All right, now we got into the boss. So we're gonna swap weapons to set number 2. We're gonna put this ring in. We're going to activate, first of all, we're going to start generating rage. We're going to activate the boar, which surprise, I started using. If you really want to, for a tiny bit of a damage boost, you can swap these around, but, it's up to you. We're going to wait a little bit until the rage, generates, until at least, I don't know, 20-something. I think that's enough. And hopefully this is going to go well, because totems with Rolling Slam, sometimes they just hit in the wrong place, not in the place where they're necessarily supposed to. So I'm hoping that this is going to be... I'm hoping that this is going to be an appropriate showcase. It absolutely was not, because the totems for some reason pushed the Xesht in the beginning. This was a very, very not accurate showcase of how fast I would kill this guy, because from my experience from the kills on stream, I've been killing him in about 4 seconds. I have footage from killing King of the Mist also. The HP just goes down like this, right? So this was very slow. This was the slowest showcase, but I'm not going to be doing this boss again, right? I'm going to do it in a single take. So this was the slowest I have probably ever killed him. Normally it would be like probably two times faster. It would be like 3-4 seconds, right, and he's dead. That's how much damage this build is doing. So absolutely devastating amount of damage. I have not seen more. If you guys seen more from patch 0.2, please let me know who did that, because I'm curious what they did to make the damage even higher. Apart from just having better gear, right? Because my gear is not perfect. I don't even have +3 amulet. So apart from that, it's really hard to like come up with necessarily what you could do to have even more damage on totems. But yeah, here we are. So I'm going to talk about quickly. Quickly. Well, I'm going to explain what I did, because of course the build went through many changes since the last video, which is like what, 5 days ago. It went through many changes since the last time, and I'm going to explain what I did. First of all, the passive tree saw some massive changes. It is what I would call optimized right now, although it's still not perfect, but it's optimized, right? It's better. We swapped to Avatar of Fire. Why Avatar of Fire on totems? There are 2 reasons. Number one, I'm using these gloves, which I'm going to talk about later. Secondly, Avatar of Fire, of course, still, in my opinion, the best way of scaling damage in the game for warriors. Fire is just better than physical, period. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just fire utilizes the wet on your weapons, right? And the best part about this is that these weapons on paper are like pretty cheap. They're very cheap if you want to buy ones with only 2 sockets and non-corrupted ones, right? Because the only thing you need is +7 to melee skills and as high increased elemental damage with attacks as possible. And I don't have like crazy high. I have 105%, 140%. In total, it's going to be 219%. That is an absolutely devastating damage boost. Even for the deepest tower builds, this is just a lot of damage, because even the deepest tower builds are gonna have like about like let's just say 700% increased damage. The regular builds will have something about 400, 500. So for a regular build, just having these 2 stats over here, this elemental damage with attacks, is going to be a 50% more damage boost. And on top of that, Avatar of Fire allows you to use better support gems, like something like Immolate. You can use Primal Armament, you can use Fire Infusion. All of a sudden, your supports become better compared to pure physical, at least in my opinion. So Avatar of Fire, just the best way to scale damage to astronomical levels. I don't think I've seen a single pure physical build that was doing as much damage as fire builds. Avatar of Fire builds. I'm sorry, it is what it is. Right, so Avatar of Fire, absolutely fantastic. 10 out of 10. Take it and use it, boys. Next up, I'm going to talk immediately about gloves. I started using Leopold Applause and spec'd pretty heavily into fire penetration into the build. On this build, these gloves allow you to drop enemies' resistances to -50% instead of 0. So basically, if you're gonna get enough fire penetration, that is going to be 50% more damage. And yeah, I mean, that's crazy, right? The reason why, some might ask, the reason why I'm using these gloves for the maximum damage setup instead of Death Articulated, like I did on One Punch Titan, is because on One Punch Titan you could use the support gem that gives you 35% more damage, but you spend 10 rage to to get that damage boost. On totems, it doesn't work. This support doesn't work. Therefore, I decided that number one thing, totems cost ridiculous amount of life, and you want to like spam probably a few at the time. So this build also has a lot of regeneration, like a lot of regeneration, right? Like with all the buffs, I have 1500 regen per second. So I mean that's crazy, and this is not even like the maximum amount you could get. But I decided that it's going to be better because I'm not going to use this support. I can't use it. The damage is very good during maps while mapping. I don't even need that rage while mapping because everything dies very quickly. White monsters in one hit or maybe 2 hits from the shockwave totems. The area is crazy, so I thought that this is going to be unnecessary, and having that extra degeneration is going to be unnecessary. I decided to go for these guys, and of course we're speccing into fire penetration there and there. I have fire penetration over here. I have exposed to Inferno, Megalomaniac, which is 15%, and more fire exposure. I have there was okay, there it is. I have fire penetration from this spot. There is one more place when I had fire penetration. I don't remember where that was. Maybe it's just gloves, because I had, these gloves penetrate 10% elemental resistances, and on top of that 13% corruption, which at this point this is more than enough. You don't even need that corruption, by the way. It's completely unnecessary. If you feel like you don't have, like, if you feel like you need a little bit more, just a little bit more, just invest this 1 point, literally. Just one passive point, that's it. And you can buy the ones that are non-corrupted. Of course, you could buy, for example, corrupted ones that would have something else. Like, for example, your hits penetrate elemental resistances down to a minimum of minus 60% or something like this, if you wanted to invest even further into, damage and stuff like that. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing, apart from the better supports you can use while using Avatar of Fire, on top of that, I used another Ancestral Warrior Totem. Normally the limit is 3 of your totems, because you get +1 over here from Watchtowers, and +1 over here from Ancestral Artifice. Whatever this word is. Ancestral Warrior Totem number 2, also with Rolling Slam, is going to be with Great Wood over Abundance, Close Combat, and whatever damage you're going to find here, basically. But why you can use 3 of these totems, and on top of that you can use one totem extra, because of this support, right? This totem is going to last 50% less, so it's going to drop after 4 seconds or something like that. But because supported skills have +1 to limit, your totems basically become the limit all of a sudden for your totems is 4 instead of 3. And you can use that with Great Wood. And because your totem limit is 4 now, Great Wood basically gives all of these bonuses to the maximum level. So 40% more damage, 20% area, and 40% life for this one totem, which is really cool. This combo basically means that this 4th totem, actually hits pretty hard. It doesn't hit as hard as this one, because here we have Execute and the best damage supports. But this is still pretty cool, and this is going to be more damage. Once again, the showcase that you saw over there against Xesht, it wasn't even in the slightest as much damage as I was doing, for example, during my showcases on the stream yesterday. But yeah, we got unlucky, so the Xesht got pushed into the wall or something. I don't even know what pushed this Xesht so far, but whatever. Next up, another part that allows us to do more damage is, of course, the Deepest Tower. We are fully speccing into, I've been using this from nothing on my pretty much every build except for Will Smith, except for the first one. So very good value from this. From nothing here to allocate these points and regeneration, because regeneration is important. And then, of course, you have these low life nodes here, and Execute for 50% more damage. Absolutely crazy combo, especially on something like Totems, because Totems typically will not have crazy amount of damage nodes on the tree. They have okay amount of damage nodes, especially with Titan, because Titan will obviously, thanks to Hulking Form, increase the effect by 50% of these. But yeah, it's not like, you're not gonna get 1200% increased damage on this build or something like that. Totems will get typically a little bit less than that. And that's one thing that's one way to solve the increased damage. And the other one, of course, is Avatar of Fire, because we're getting a lot of increased damage from weapons. So this is absolutely crazy. Another thing I do to increase my damage even further is using Bursting Decay into bosses. You can skip that. First of all, you can pretty much skip doing all of this. The only thing on paper you have to do is to swap your weapons to set number 2 and use the boar, right? The boar is going to always shock enemies by 30%, so 30% more damage. And with this setup right here, without doing anything else, of course, it will be good if you generated some rage from Solar Orb as well. But you don't have to do anything else. Map bosses will get one shot, and Pinnacle bosses will die in 7 seconds. Or 6-7 seconds. Something like that, right? You don't have to put this in. You don't have to, swap gems, because that is a tiny damage boost. Swapping to Fire Infusion instead of this. So you don't have to do all of that. But I just, wanted to show you guys how much damage we were doing. Unfortunately, I didn't really show you, because, Totems pushed the boss for some reason, but yeah. This combo and this ring has this modifier: attacks have added physical damage equal to 3% of maximum life. This works on totems. So basically, the totems are going to receive like 100, about almost 120 flat minimum damage to this number. So from right now it does 420 to 635, so it's going to be 540 to 755, something like this, right? And the same for Shockwave Totem. I'm not using this ring while mapping because I need my resistances. My gear honestly is far from perfect, especially this ring is kind of ass. So I'm not using this because I still have enough damage while mapping on my Shockwave Totem, so I don't need that extra damage. But this is going to work on both Shockwave Totem and Ancestral Warrior Totem. So this is really cool, right? And the last but not least, I decided that this build didn't really have, especially after I dropped Pure Fizz and I spec'd into Avatar of Fire, there weren't too many options for me to choose from when it comes to persistent buffs. So I only have Berserk with Vitality here, basically. And other than that, I decided to do some hunting. And I hunted this Dire Tusk Boar with all damage shocks. This basically, with a combination of Overcharge and Last Gasp, will guarantee that when you're fighting a Pinnacle boss, this boss will be shocked. And I recommend Bullseye also for more accuracy rating because, you know, this boar is low level. This is the lowest level possible. It's level 9 because I have, you know, little dexterity. So it's going to miss from time to time, but for the most part, it should be able to hit no problem. And the Pinnacle bosses will be shocked. And this is what I do only against Pinnacle bosses. Normally, I don't even use that while mapping because it just pisses me off. Sometimes I don't know if this is a monster or this guy is actually mine. If we're on the same team, so I don't need that extra damage while mapping at all. So I just disable it. And against Pinnacle bosses, boom, welcome back. Pokemon Go, like whatever his name is. Like, is there like a boar type, like a Pokemon in, you know, in the franchise? I don't know, but but yeah, basically that's what it is. 30% more damage with this support, very nice. And but yeah, Pinnacle bosses die in 3-4 seconds with all these modifiers, and this is pretty much what I've been using to reach that devastating amount of damage. Once again, it's kind of a shame that the showcase was you know, the showcase went this way, not the other. But I think for the most part you saw, like, you know, how much damage, you know, this build is capable of doing. For the people that don't believe me, check my streams from yesterday, for example. Check my footage. Trust me, Pinnacles die in like 4 seconds, literally. So that's how much damage. That's how much damage you can still dish out of totems in patch 0.2. And that's going to be it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Next video, probably in a few days. I'm going to probably make a video. First of all, let me know if there is something that you would like to know about this build in particular. If there is nothing at all, then probably I'm going to make a video about the interesting, unique weapons that you could use with this build and how you can utilize them. And after that, it's going to be like a big build guide, and that's pretty much it. If there is something that you want me to talk about and showcase, then feel free, don't be shy to let me know down in the comments. I'm going to very much appreciate it. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.